let's go straight to the gist of the presentation. So today's topic, the first presentation, the first lecture, the topic is how to lead and manage multicultural and multidisciplinary research groups. And we are glad and honored to have Dr. Donald Kandem, who is going to be our first speaker this morning. Who is Dr. Donald? Dr. Donald is a postdoctoral researcher within the Department of Pathology of the University of Utah in the United States of America. You can see him on the screen. He graduated with a doctorate degree, PhD, in clinical science and immunology from the University of Cape Town. We call it UCT. I love Cape Town in South Africa. And he obtained a Master of Sciences in Health Science and Immunology from the School of Health Science of the Catholic University of Central Africa, Yaoundé, Cameroon. With a multidisciplinary and multicultural background, and I understand why he's going to talk about that, and I'm sure this will be very exciting. He has around 10 years of research experience in the field of infectious diseases and fibrosis. His current research aims to decipher the therapeutic potential of a tyrosine kinase receptor in the treatment of liver fibrosis in the context of non-colic steatohepatitis. Wow, that's wonderful. You know, it is so technical. So, Dr. Donald, I'm not going to speak much. The floor is all yours.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you correctly.
Yes, yes,
yes, we can hear you.
Sure. Hello, bonjour, guten tag, buen dia, yate, sabah al-khad, hola, everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be part of this workshop, and I would like first to thank Dr. Gesam for that awesome introduction, and also all the team organizer for inviting me to share my experience on leadership. And today, we will be discussing on how to lead and manage a multicultural and multidisciplinary research group. Yes, my name is Donald, and I'm currently a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Utah in the US. So to make this discussion exciting, we will first define leadership, give some element of leadership. Then we will talk a little bit about the base theory of leadership, principle of leadership, the be, know, do theory. We will see what is that. And we will end up by seeing how you lead in a multicultural and multidisciplinary research group and see what are the forces that affect in such a context. So yeah, I got my master in health and immunology at the Catholic University of Central Africa in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Then I worked as a technical and quality assurance manager in a chain of laboratories specialized in medical diagnostics. And I took up a research assistant and project coordinator position in some institution, some research institution in Cameroon. And I was awarded a fellowship to further my studies through a PhD in clinical science and immunology at the prestigious University of Cape Town in South Africa. And I'm now in the US doing my postdoc. So yeah, I've been lucky enough to be part of many multicultural and multidisciplinary research groups. And today, I will just share with you guys my experience on that. And yeah, let's have fun. So I'm sure you have heard this sentence in corridors like, that guy is very good, a hard worker. I wish all my team member was like him. You also heard people saying that that guy is bad, he's giving me headache. So I would like us to start this discussion by this statement. A good leader is assessed by the height achieved by the weakest member of his group. A good leader is assessed by the height achieved by the weakest member of his group. Everyone cannot be hard worker. And in a team, people come in different flavors. And as a leader, you should be judged in your capacity of transforming the weakest element in your group. So leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence, to guide followers to achieve a common goal. Followers are people that you lead, and you have to be someone who inspires passion and motivation in them. Someone with a vision and a path to realize that. As a leader, you should provide and make sure that your team has all the support and tools needed to achieve the goal they have to. It was commonly believed that leaders were born and not made. And this is something that we usually hear. You're born as a leader. No, good leaders are made, not born. They develop through a never-ending process of self-learning, education, training, and experience. If I ask you a question, are you a good researcher? Are you a good scientist? I'm sure most, if not all of you guys will say yes. But if I ask you, when did you become a good researcher? When was that? The day, the time? This is harder to answer. It's harder because you became a good researcher through a process of learning, attending workshops, seminars, reading articles, and today you come to realize that you have a good critical thinking. It wasn't a day thing, but it was a process. Let me take another example. Let's say you go to gym and you want to have nice shape. Do you think that going to gym for 20 hours in a day will give you the shape you want? No, you won't have those shapes. But if you go to gym 20 minutes every day, you will get the shape you want. So leadership is a never-ending process. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. And to be consistent, you have to have certain beliefs, values, ethics, and character, which make you unique as a leader. So as a leader, you should be able to communicate, to motivate, to have a positive attitude, to be creative, but most importantly, to share feedback and to be able to accept feedback from others. And in the leadership, we have 4 main components that as a leader, you should consider if you have to be successful. The leader, the follower, the communication, and the situation. So as the leader, you must have an honest understanding of who you are, what you know, and what you can do. Always remember, to be successful, you have to convince your followers, not yourself, neither your supervisor, but your followers, that you are worthy to be followed. And followers are coming from different backgrounds, different education, and you have to be able to understand human being and your way of communication. You have 2 main ways of communication as a leader. And most of the time, you will use the non-verbal way of communication. I mean, you have to set by the example. I will then share with you what happened when I was leading a team in the medical diagnostics. So we were a laboratory dealing with medical diagnostics in a daily basis, and we had different shifts. So we have the morning shift from 7:30 to 4 p.m., the evening shift from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the night shift from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day. So as a leader, I was working during the morning shift. And one day, the person who was supposed to take over the night shift called me around 3 p.m. saying that she couldn't make it. She was supposed to take over at 6 p.m., but at 3 p.m., because of an emergency, she wasn't able to make it. And generally in our context, we work with The staff number is not enough. So when someone is not available, the whole machine is affected. So what should I do? Should I ask someone to take over the night shift after working the whole day? They will say that that guy is not normal. He's asking me to work 24 hours. And they are right. So I just decided to take that shift myself. And that day, I worked more than 24 hours. But the most important part of the story is what happened after. They were shocked. They saw me able to work more than 24 hours when needed. And they were telling me that, no, this is too much on you. Please, next time, I'm willing to be called in case of emergency. And someone else said, no, me too, I want to be called. They were proposing themselves to work for more than 24 hours. And that day I had the power to choose someone and tell the person, you know what, you will take the shift, but I didn't. Sometimes you have, as a leader, to set the example. And you have to be also smart and know that all situations, you should not apply the same action for all situations, because tomorrow someone else will call you, oh yeah, I have an emergency, I cannot work, willing you to work on his behalf. So you also have to consider different situations. So the Bass theory of leadership says that there are three basic ways to explain how people become leaders. We have the threat theory saying that some personality traits may lead people naturally into leadership position. We have also the situational theories where a crisis or an important event may cause a person to rise to the occasion, which brings out extraordinary leadership capacity in an ordinary person. Let's say you are in a building and the building is on fire. Everyone is yelling, crying, and you are sitting there, you say, okay, if I do nothing, we will all die. And you just see someone say, okay, guys, let's go that way. Let's follow me. Okay, just wait here. I will check the stair. If they are clear, so you guys, you can come. You see that person is jumping as a leader because of the situation. And the last theory is the process leadership theory, where people can choose to become leaders through learning the leadership skill, as all of you guys attending to this workshop. So we have several principles of leadership, and one of them is you may know yourself and seek self-improvement. Remember, this is a never-ending process, over and over. You have to understand your be, know, and do, that we will see in the next slide. You have to be technically proficient as a leader to be able to train also your followers, so they will follow you. They will come to you because they know they can learn something. You have to seek and take responsibility. When things go wrong, don't look for someone to blame. Just take responsibility. Make sound and timely decisions and set the example. I just gave you an example on how you can set the example. Know your people and look into their well-being. Remember, a leadership is a win-win partnership. And as a leader, you have to make sure that your follower understand that the work he's doing is for him. It's not for you. You have to make him understand that the skills he's acquiring now will open many more doors to him. Then he will work for him, not for you. Make him understand that if he works harder, he will have a higher salary. He will work for him. And you as a leader, you will get the productivity. It's a win-win partnership. You have to develop a sense of responsibility in your followers and ensure that the tasks are understood, and you have to supervise them. Don't come back and just blame someone without making sure that the task was clearly explained to them. So what is the be, know, and do theory? As a leader, you have to be professional, responsible. You have to possess some character, honesty, competence, commitment, courage. You have to know the factors that affect leadership. I mean the leader, the follower, the communication, and the situation. Know yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses. I really like this part. Remember, before you become a leader, you were a follower. And never ever think that because you are the leader, you are the smartest in the group. No, never ever think that because you are the leader, you are most intelligent than all people in your group. That's a big mistake. And remember, when you were a follower, sometimes you were sitting there and the leader was speaking and you were telling yourself, what is that guy saying? I have a better idea. We all did that. And as a leader, you also have to remember that when you are talking, people listening to you, some of them are saying that I have a better idea. So you have to know that, to know the human nature, and you have to be proficient in your work to get the respect from your followers. You have to do the do part, do provide them training, supervision, implement and motivate your theme. As a leader, you should be able to empower, to inspire, to lead change, and to share your vision. Now, what is a multicultural and multidisciplinary research group? It's a group of researchers working together to achieve a common objective. They are made from people from different backgrounds, beliefs, culture, and ethnicity, and they are coming in different flavors, different skills and expertise. Now, to know how to manage in such context is really important to know what are the challenges in a multicultural and multidisciplinary research group. So I've selected some of them. The language barrier. This is something very common. You will organize a meeting. You will see some of your followers, they won't say anything. They have brilliant idea, but they won't speak because they are not proficient in that language. They are ashamed about their accent and they won't say anything. And as a leader, you have to encourage those that are working in a language which is not native for them to give their opinion. The cultural differences. I was shocked when I went in Cape Town for my PhD and I met my supervisor and I greet him as, hi, professor. No, please call me Frank. I was shocked to hear that. Because from where I'm coming, don't ever dream to call a professor by his name. And when you are then leading in a multicultural situation, you have to understand that if someone calls you Donald instead of Dr. Camden, it's not a lack of respect, it's the culture. You have to know that. Technical challenges. People coming from, let's say, developing country, they won't be proficient in animal studies, for example, because in their context, they are working with human participants. And you have, as a leader, to know that. You won't ask to a lion to climb to decide if he's a good animal or not. The decision-making process, the style of communication, the racial discrimination. This is a very sensitive topic, racial discrimination. They are law everywhere against racism. But this is something that you feel, and I'm sure many of us have experienced it. So when you go somewhere, they don't say anything, but the behavior of the people there make you understand that you are not welcome. I remember I went in another multicultural group and they asked always this question, where are you coming from? And I was excited to say, oh, I'm coming from Cameroon. Sorry, where? Cameroon. Where is that? And then I was shocked. Oh, I said, oh, is somewhere there in Central Africa. No, I don't know Cameroon. Do you know Nigeria? Yeah. Oh, so you are neighbor to Nigeria. This is how they know. And do you ask someone else, oh yes, I got my master from the University of Harvard. You are already categorized as less intelligent compared to someone coming, let's say from Harvard. And you have to work harder to prove to those guys that you deserve to be there where you are with them. So as a leader in such context, you have to understand that. And when you are making groups of work, you have to make sure that every time you exchange your followers, so each and everyone can work with everyone. Otherwise, you will see some cluster naturally form within your group. Reaction to power and hierarchy, also really important when you lead in a multicultural environment. From where we were coming, we were trained in a manner where when the boss, your supervisor, or the lead asks you to do something, you do so. But in other culture, you will see someone tell you, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Full stop, no explanation. As a leader in such context, you have to know that different kind of reaction to power and hierarchy. So some tips to conclude our presentation on how to manage in such culture. Try to know your followers, know their name, try to know their hobbies, what they do during when they are not working in the lab. That's helped to create a kind of trust between the team. Overcome language and cultural barriers. Encourage followers not proficient in a language to give their opinion. Try to learn more, even little words from each follower's native language. That's why I've started by saying hi in so different languages. Consider different cultural communication style, be open to all culture and their differences, organize a cross-cultural training, and avoid stereotype. What are the forces that can affect your leadership in such a context to conclude? Your relationship with followers is really important. The skill of your followers, critical. If your followers are more skilled than you are in trouble. You have to make sure you master what you are asking them to do. Never ending process, remember. And the most difficult in leadership is to manage informal leader in your group. Remember, in your group, you will always have informal leaders, and the way you manage them is also critical. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Donald. That was amazing. That was inspiring, and thank you. Well, joining this presentation to the one of Nafisa 2 and the other guys yesterday, you know, it gives really a taste of what it means to be a research leader. Yes, values like ethics, character, communication, positive attitude, so many others. These are key. And I thank you very much for this brilliant presentation. So we are going to, go to the session of question and answers. I have a few. And the first is from Godwin Ohemo. A leader must be able to communicate. You said it. As a leader of a diverse research group, there are times when you need to pass out an information or instruction and be firm on it. How do you comment without coming across as commanding? And how do you exercise firmness without coming across a bossy or lording it over? This is the question.
That's a great question. And the very first thing I would like to say is, when you have your team, make sure everyone understands they are working for them, not for you. When this is clear, they will understand that everything you're asking them to do is for their well-being, not your. And the good thing is research is that we are generally working towards a big project, and we like to have publication. And all researchers want to be in the article to be published. And as a leader, you have to be fair and honest, and each and every one contribution should match the position on the paper. So if you ask someone to do something and the person doesn't want to do, You don't have to go and fight with the person. First, try to understand why the person is not willing to do. It's not because the person is not well trained to do that task. Then you train the person to give him more confidence on handling the task. Is that because the person just don't want to do the task? Don't fight with him. Try to assign that task to someone else who has the skill, and make clear that person understand that the task he's completing now will help even in his position on the paper. And when you will publish that paper, the next time you guys will have a project, each and everyone will know that my contribution, my dedication will set my position on the paper. And that paper will help my career, not my leader career. So when I have something to do, I better do it.
Thank you, Donald. I have another question. I have a few more questions, and let me take the next one from Taniel Taylor. As a leader, do you learn to adopt and apply different leadership style depending on the situation, or do you accept and embrace your own style and apply it to different situations?
Yeah, sure. That's another amazing question. And the answer to that is, as a good leader, you should apply different style of leadership in different situations. I will just take two examples. If you have, let's say, a new member in the team who is not well trained, not yet experienced, the style of leadership you have to apply with such a person is more like you have to be close, work closely to the person, a kind of closer supervision, a kind of autocratic. When I say autocratic, it's not like you are imposing things to people. It's just you don't give the person the room to decide what you want to do. In contrast, if you have in your team more experienced people, if you want to follow them too closely, you will get in trouble with them. You leave them the room to decide, to think, to do their things, and to report to you. Then from the report, you can address whatever you want to address. So yeah, definitely you have to adopt different style in different situations.
Thank you, Donald. It is very important because when you are in a multicultural setting, a group of different culture, of course, you must consider each situation to apply your leadership. Otherwise, frustration can come across. And this can be really terrible for the collaboration. Thank you so very much. Another question. I think I'll take this one because the person wants to know, it's Josiane Humpeng G from, yeah. So do you think you should speak English to be a great leader? Donald, let me take this one. As a project manager of a huge network of 30 partners, 25 from West Africa and 5 from Europe, I can answer to this question. No, you don't need to speak English to be a leader, but the language barrier is very, 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 very difficult sometimes. We come across a situation when you have a great leader having great idea coming from a French-speaking setting, but because a person cannot speak English and nearly all the group speak English, the person cannot express himself or herself to translate his or her knowledge. And this is a gap. So this gap must be filled by any leader. To be a leader, as you said, the no section is very important. And in the no, you must try as much as you can to speak at least the mostly spoken language across the globe, if you really want to apply your leadership in different settings. But if you speak my own language, so you have to apply your leadership in Bouaké, in Cote d'Ivoire. Otherwise, if you go to Senegal or Cameroon, you will never be able to lead, to communicate. So it's important to really know the key languages, not only English. Even if you know Chinese, you can go in China and have a nice conference. Share your knowledge. If you know Spanish, you can go to Argentina or Spanish and have a nice conference. So this is what we mean. Otherwise, we can have a leader, even in our villages, we have great leaders. But the problem is their knowledge stays in the village because they cannot communicate it. That's why I think you talk about language. So let's go to the next question. I'm loving it, as somebody said it. Hello, this is Zilifak Brian Ngokwe. I guess this is a brother from Nigeria. Hello, using the example of the night shift, how do you know, as a leader, the difference between a worker asking for permission because he or she really needs it, or because he or she knows you will cover up for him?
That's a brilliant question. And human being, when you are so kind, they will try to abuse, always. That's right. And something also important is that you have to know your
Yes.
people. You have to know your people. And the situation are different. That's why I said in another situation, the same question can lead to a different answer. So this is something that you have to know your people and say, okay, this person asking that is someone really dedicated to his work, always on time. So if the person is asking that with clear evidence that the situation is clearly an emergency, then you have to believe. It's not like you will become childish, like everyone call you, you will close just the lab because everyone will always have something to do. But again, I want to emphasize on the fact that when you succeed in making them understand that whatever they are doing it for them and not for you, you are on the right track. That's the most difficult part.
Thank you, Donald. Yes, another question coming again about the language barrier. I think language barrier is very important. So this one, I'll give it to you. How can a leader motivate a person with language barrier to make positive, meaningful contribution in a team?
Sure, yes. I will take an experience I went through. So generally, you will see, even during Zoom workshop or meeting, whatever, people will be more prone to type question than to unmute themselves and speak because of the language barrier. They are ashamed of their accent. They feel they don't sound right. So when we are working in a multicultural team, what I usually do is every day when we will come, I will try to greet you in your native language. I won't master it. I won't pronounce it as you. But the fact that I try at least to pronounce, make you confident. You will see them laugh the way I pronounce it in their native language. But I just try. Then the person is confident. And every time that we have a meeting, I will never end the meeting without asking, okay, X, what do you think? And when the person speaks, make sure you congratulate the person. Even if what the person says is not right, don't tell the person right away that you don't agree with what he said, but congratulate the person. Oh, because the person take the courage to express himself. And over time, how confident you will put the person, more the person will be willing to give his opinion.
Great, thank you. Thank you so very much. This is very important. That's why, you know, some researchers, before going to villages, they will try to learn at least a few words, because if you want to do clinical trial in the rural setting, and you just come with a nice dress and your, you know, equipment with a nice 4x4, and you want to do your research, they may not accept you. Sometimes it's important to really be at their level to, be able to communicate your leadership. This is very important. Thank you so very much. Well, another question. We have so many questions. We may not be able to address all of them, but we still have a few more minutes. So let's go to this one from, this person is anonymous, but the question says, growing up, I would take up various chances of being a leader, but recently I've had many demotivating moments, and some personal events have also caused me to have a lot of anxiety and fear building up. What can I do to improve myself? This one, I think he or she needs a psychologist. This is a very important issue. But if you have a few words, Donald, go ahead.
Yes, sure. That's a really, really, really important question. And the answer to that is, I first want to tell the person that don't think you are the only one in that situation. Many persons go through that situation. That's the first thing I want to say. The second thing, remember, never-ending process. You are not becoming a leader because you saw your friend is a leader. You are not becoming a leader to please someone. You become a leader for yourself. Remember the gym? If you go to the gym 2 hours one day, you won't get the shape. If you go 20 minutes, you won't get the shape. It's consistency. You have to understand that being a leader is the way for you to go, and only you can make it. And you have to be consistent. That means it won't be nice every time. It won't be always easy. It will be even never easy. You will have to go through a long process of pushing yourself, pushing your boundaries, and try to bring out the better version of yourself. So keep up and just try to be the better version of yourself, and you will make it. It's not a one-day process. So you are in the process. Even that anxiety, that willingness to quit, that's part of the project. That part of the process. So you are on the process. No worries. You will get there. Even that willingness of quitting, again, I want to emphasize on that. That's the path to be a leader. So you are on the right track, and good luck.
Thank you so very much. That's really brilliant. I will take 2 more questions. I will join 2 questions, put them in one. One from an anonymous person. How do you address power struggle between you and your informal leaders? And there is another question from Abdallah Ibrahim. If the followers have moral skills, how that will be a problem if it could be useful for the objectives. So I think there is a close link between the 2 questions.
Yes, sure. Yeah, if a follower has more skill, it shouldn't be a problem for the team. What is a problem for a team is if, as a leader, you think that you are the smartest, you think that you are the most intelligent. If you come to realize that some of your followers have more skill than you, you have to use their skill and make sure the environment allow them to express themselves fully. Don't try any confrontational engagement with them because you want to beat their skill and show them that you are the boss. No, that's the problem with leadership. Your leadership makes others to respect you. They can even respect you even if you are less skilled than them, if you allow them to express themselves. That's why, most importantly, as a leader, you have first to be well skilled. You have to be trained to be able to train your followers. They have to understand that they have something to gain from you. And of course, they can have a skill that you don't have, but show them that there are some skills that they need from you, and then they will respect you.
Thank you, Donald. We are lucky we can take 5 more minutes because we can go up to 50. So let me take more questions because we have many questions and this is really inspiring. Hello, Dr. Donald. I am Jean-Lionel Ndongo Zoa from Cameroon. Please, Dr. Donald, what kind of leadership is required when you have someone on your team, who thinks they are way above you? I think this is sometimes it brings crisis. So what can you say about that?
Sure. And I will also share another experience to answer your question. I joined a team as a follower, and I end up in that team as a leader. And the leader, when I joined the team, was now the follower in the same thing. And I can guarantee you that that's the most difficult context you can ever imagine, because someone that was your leader is now one of your followers. And the person was making sure that everything that I planned won't work, just to show that, okay, it was a mistake to bring me to the leadership position. How do you deal in such a situation? What I was doing, I can make a plan and I make my shift, and the person is planned for that shift, and the person decide to come late intentionally. What I was doing, I was just taking the spot of the person. So whatever the time the person was deciding to come, when he come, the work is ongoing. The machine is not stopped because he's not there. And when the person come, I don't blame the person. I was just showing the person that we can do without you. You're not important to the team. And at a certain time, the person now was fighting to come back in the team. So you have to adjust to different situations. Fighting to be planned, to be part of the team, because he noticed that everything was going smoothly with or without him. And this was very, very a shock for him.
Thank you, Donald. And I want to give an example to close this very first set of questions. Two very good friends. One was the mentor of the other 20 or 15 years ago. Then the one was a mentor, for some situation, the mentee, became a very strong leader. And 15 years later, when they met in the company, the mentee became the mentor of the previous mentor, of his previous mentor. Why? Because of growth. That's why when you are a leader of a company, you make sure your team grow. Because the previous mentor went to another company where, the leadership was not promoting career. So he was very stagnant for like 10 years. Meanwhile, in the previous company where the mentee was, career development is very key. So he gradually, improved. And when they met, mentee became mentor. But because they are good friends, and for the sake of humility, they both accepted, and they are doing tremendous work together. So I just want to say, humility is key in leadership. Sometimes your follower can grow quickly and become a leader, and you must accept, because knowledge is all about knowledge. So ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is very encouraging. Let us be humble as leaders. So thank you again, Donald. That was inspiring. We have more questions to come, but we cannot respond to all the questions. And I will tell Global Health Network to create such an opportunity again and again, so that we can meet very often. So